let's talk CEO and executive team support. So, in order for your team to be successful, you've got to make sure that the company vision, strategy, goals, mission, all of those things are crystal clear. They're incorporated into the day to day, and that everyone is aware so that everyone can be aligned. So, I have a list of items here that are key things to highlight in this area to focus on. It is not all encompassing, just like the rest of my list, but it is a place to start. So, number one would be the clear public company vision. So your company vision should be clearly defined and public so that everyone can see it, everyone can reference it. I mean, it could even be on the walls if you want. I've seen that at a couple places I've been at. And so it's just always there in your face and you can't forget about it. You just know the beat you're marching to every day and everyone's on the same path. So it essentially focuses everyone towards like a North Star, if you will. That's probably a good way to look at it. And so if it's easy to understand and it's widely shared, every stakeholder, every customer even knows what the company stands for and where they're headed. And that's what can really allow people to get excited and to actually start thinking about how they're going to help get there. If that's missing, they can think of all kinds of new ideas and new things, but it doesn't mean that you're marching towards that same North Star. Number two is going to be making sure that you have company goals set and that you've got buy-in from the team. So setting company goals with input and buy-in from the team is critical because you want them to be involved. You want them to, again, be excited, be engaged, and want to work towards these things. You want them to have faith that, yes, these things are things that we can do. We know, we feel good about it. We know how to do it. We know what we need to start thinking about in terms of resources we're going to need, all of that sort of thing. And so if they feel like they have a say in the direction of the company, they're definitely going to be more motivated and engaged to make sure that that sort of thing is happening and that everything is coming together. So very key there. Number three is going to be a very clear public, again, company roadmap. So it's just as important as everything else because, again, you want everyone marching to that same beat. You want everyone towards that North Star. So if everyone understands the journey ahead, they can talk about it. If they're at lunch, they can bring it up in conversation, because they're excited about it, because they're engaged and because they want to move things forward, because they can see where they're going. So that clear roadmap makes it easy to allocate resources, priorities, and every team can be aligned with the same type of milestones and objectives. And, things really shouldn't be coming out of left field, no surprises, things like that, because again, the North Star, it's so important. So number four is going to be weaving the vision, the mission, the goals, the values, all of that into the day-to-day operations. And so when you have all of these things, it's one thing to put them, on a list somewhere or on a doc somewhere, and then you don't visit it again. But if you're not talking about them through the hiring process, when you're at company lunch, when you're at a team building thing, when you're, just kind of talking to someone at the water cooler, if these things aren't involved in your meetings, your day-to-day strategy, your weekly strategy, your weekly one-on-ones, all of these things, if they're not in that, then it's really easy to forget about it and to, again, veer off track. So it's very important, if you've got like that monthly all hands meeting, that monthly town hall type meeting, quarterly town hall, whatever it may be, that these types of things are being brought up and they're being talked about. So it's always top of mind. Number five is going to be defining and publicly sharing the company values. So the company values, very similar to the vision, should be public again. They're really clear and they guide everything. They guide the behavior, decisions. It could be, everyone working on the same guiding principles so that they're aligning to make that, that positive, unified mindset in the work culture, that all those types of things. So again, when they're always being weaved in and they're talked about, it makes it really easy for people to understand expectations and what is, the culture. Like how should you be behaving when you're at work. So very big deal to make sure that those things are in place. I do have a blog article and I'm happy to talk on all the different things to consider when you are assembling company values. Number six is going to be making sure that you have that sounding board in place. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a COO, but someone in the operation type of area, like a director level, something like that, so that you've got someone where you can give feedback, you can bounce ideas off and listen to your ideas that are generated. So it's really common, especially in the executive type team where you might have frustrations, things are going on, and you might quickly respond to someone at some point and catch yourself where like you can't vent to your employees. You can't just throw an idea out there and think like, oh, this is just going to magically come together. You really have to be able to think about it, think about your response to things, because every word you say matters. Everyone hears, and they're judging their own performance, they're judging their job security, everything based on the things that you say. So it's very important that you have a sounding board in place to make sure that you've got a process for how you do that, for how you think through new processes, new things you want to roll out, to make sure that they're well thought through, documented, whatever it is that you choose, to make sure that these things are going out well. Number 7 is going to be eliminating silos. So you want to make sure that the teams are aligned with the CEO strategy. And when you start to have silos, because all of these things aren't public, they're not well defined, they're not really clear, they're not worked into the day-to-day, people will start to operate in isolation. And you can start to have duplication, communications breaking down. That's when you can start having lesser engaged employees, frustrations, people start to get angry, and then they start to not want to participate as much. They might start doing the bare minimum. So you really want to do everything you can to avoid the silo situation. And so making sure that the strategy, vision, that there's alignment across all departments and areas, no one is working in that bubble, that's going to allow people to collaborate, share knowledge, and then hopefully, drive that collective success. Number 8 is a clear insight into financial performance, so expenses and profit. When people have all that insight in there, it's really like a non-negotiable. Anyone who is a department head in particular needs to have that understanding. They need to know that what they're doing, there is an outcome, what that outcome is, and that it is meeting expectations. It's not those types of things. So if you're not, if you're working with people and there's no real visibility into the financials, then people can't make informed decisions. So you really want to make sure that along with the vision, strategy, mission, that there is clarity in that as well, and transparency. Number 9 is your hiring process, your recruiting and hiring. So really easier said than done. Recruiting, hiring should all be seamless. It should be a smooth process that makes sure that you're attracting the best talent. I have lots of articles on this and lots of help I would love to give and would love to talk to you on in this type of area. But you want to be able to onboard people quickly and effectively. And when your hiring process is efficient and well organized, you've got all the right questions, you've got the different tests that you want to offer to make sure that this person is the best fit possible. When you've got all of that going, you can really meet the needs of the growing business, by building those high performing teams faster. And you want to, make sure that you're doing things in a seamless way, in an efficient way. And you want to also make sure that you're checking in with people and that you are, retaining the people that you are hiring. Because again, it is very expensive to go hire, even if your process is seamless. So very key point there. And then number 10 is going to be making sure that there is clear and present data for decision making. So it's really important that there is someone or a team responsible for making sure that the data is there. So it's clear, it's easy to understand. It could be performance metrics, it could be your customer feedback, your market trends, whatever it is, you really need to have that data readily available for the executive team, leadership team, whatever you'd like to call it, to make sure that there are, they have the ability to have the data necessary to make the quick decisions, the important decisions, whatever it might be. And it's really going to help you minimize risk and help you ensure that the business is staying on track, no matter what the circumstances are. So again, this was a lot of information, and it is the key areas I felt the need to highlight. There's lots of other things out there, but I would love to talk to you more and help you get these types of things defined, documented, and public so that your team is working together smoothly. Let's connect.